show me? Sorry.
It should have just gone live on YouTube.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Thank God. All right, one thing worked
We're
today.
figuring it out, guys. All right, I'm gonna post
Okay.
this on the
Is
Facebook
it wrong?
page now.
I don't want to touch it. Can we just leave it live?
Yes. Let's leave it
Okay.
live.
I don't want to fucking touch it at this point. Oh my gosh, I just hear Facebook dinging like a mad person in the background, and it's, you're being mentioned, you're being mentioned. And also Joe Hempel posting pictures of guys in their underwear. You know, that's a thing. Okay.
All right. I forgot to tag.
I love that that's always like, I always have the most awkward derp face in those stupid thumbnails. Every single one. I'm always like on live on YouTube.
Okay, so can we pop out chat that? Or wait, what I'll do it the other way. And
Where the hell did my water
so
go?
that I'm actually looking at the camera, sort of. Cool.
My water was playing hide and seek.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started here. Finally figured that shit out.
Oh my gosh.
That was
I feel so bad, but it's
Not your fault.
I have not had to set that up.
I should have already had something ready, but as always, Wirecast was failing on me. I could not figure that thing out. I gotta like take lessons or something. I gotta like go to Wirecast and get them to teach me how to use their stupid program. What really pisses me off about Wirecast is it costs so much money and it's so buggy at the same time, and I can't figure out how to do anything with it.
That's arguably the biggest piss off, is spending money on something that then is horrifyingly buggy.
Yeah. So I think that their main clientele though are churches. So it's like a bunch of old people trying to run the thing.
Yeah.
You know, with money that's not theirs, so they just buy it and they're like, I don't know how to do this. And then they throw it aside and the money's made already, so what do they care? Okay.
Okay, it looks like we have 0 watching at the moment.
All right, maybe I need to put the link in that other post where I was bitching.
Yeah, it says 0 viewers. 1 viewer, there we go.
Hello, 1 viewer. Where's the chat? There it is. All right, guys. So, there's Danny. At least Danny's
Hi, Danny.
All right. So today, what we're doing is we're starting off with Witch's Concern, and what I wanted to do with Andrea is just help direct her a little bit for this first chapter, and try and help her out with how with a little bit of method with narration as far as how we want our audiobooks to sound at Soundbooth Theater, because what we want, I mean, evident from the word theater in the actual brand name, is a more dramatic read. Not like over dramatic, right? We don't want it to be like a Shakespearean play or whatever, but we do want a little more soul in the actual narration, and that's one of the reasons why I picked Andrea as a narrator who can work for Soundbooth Theater, because I feel like more than most even professional narrators, Andrea is very good at this. So
you're too kind, Faye. You're too kind.
I'm predicting that I won't have to do much as far as directing, but I wanted to be here while she's going through this character that I actually have performed for 3 whole books, just to help make sure that she's on the right track with it and everything. So I thought that, well, actually, it was Andrew's idea for me to for us to stream this, because I mean, I initially thought, well, I might be brutal, you know, I might be stopping and starting a lot, so it might be like embarrassing or something. But I think that's kind of what these streams are about, you know, embarrassing
It's
the shit out
supposed
of
to be
myself and working through
embarrassing.
the process, right?
I've been an actress for 13 years. I've been directed a long time, and I've been told everything from, you know, your character's not that fat, right? To, you know, you really have the soul of the character, but I just don't understand how you're making her look. So I don't care.
Okay.
Like, you can be told anything when someone's directing you, so.
Okay, so yeah, I definitely won't be complaining about
Am I too fat to pay Michelle, Jeff?
But yeah, I'll do my best to Andrea while she's reading, and I don't know, best case scenario, I just sit here listening and feel like a dumbass because I don't have anything to say. So that's what we're gonna do today. Let's see, and I'm not sure what they're seeing on the stream. I don't know if we're going back and forth, you know, like the actual image is going back and forth between you and me.
When I checked it, it was.
Okay, well, that's good. I think I just switched it to just me, so I'll undo that. Oh, good. My mouse decided to stop working. Okay, cool. It's working now. All right, so let's just get started with chapter 1. Now, I think what we need to be thinking about at first is just the mood. Like you've read the whole book, right?
Obviously, yes.
so you know, so chapter 1 starts off like almost daydreaming.
Yeah.
You know, she's just driving along, minding her own business, when suddenly.
Yeah, she's on the way to her parents' wedding, so it's a great day to her.
Right. So, yeah, I think that would be my direction for starting off. Just you're relaxed, you're daydreaming, and then once we hit that second paragraph, you're gonna go up tempo a bit, right? Because you're kind of panicked, like what the hell's going on here? And then directly after that paragraph, third paragraph, you're gonna dip back down to just your okay, right? Like, think is everything cool now, right? So yeah, let's just what I want to do is just let you go through those first 3 paragraphs. I'm not going to say anything, and then I'm going to take notes if I hear anything that I want to comment on.
Okay. And FYI, someone just said your audio is really soft in the chat.
Okay.
I'm just going to be running this with you on here, and I'm going to keep the record of it, but I'm not going to be recording it in Audition, right?
Okay.
Okay. That just seems like the better idea, or else it's just going to be a bunch of stops and starts in Audition, and that seems silly. Okay.
How's that, guys? Is that better? No, Lao. She got mad. I don't know
Okay.
why.
All right. One of the harder parts for me is trying to figure out how to not mimic, but do basically my version of Michelle, staying true to Jeff's Michelle and maintaining that character. So let me know if you have any thoughts on that as I'm going, because that's been one of like the biggest trying to figure out things. So
I need to kick my dog out of my office.
go ahead.
Get out. Get your ass out. Okay, so my only all I can really say about her character, and like I've said before, I don't really want you to imitate me playing her. I want your take on her as well, you know. But for me, Michelle is like a female Spider-Man. She's absent-minded a bit, you know, but very smart. She's a very good person, but she constantly tortures herself because she's not a better person. Um, and she's got that snark to her, right?
Yeah.
So she definitely reminds me very much of Spider-Man. But also, one thing that I tried to do once in a while in the narration, and this is just a little detail, a little character detail, is I would let her southern accent slip
Yeah, I noticed
once in a
that
while,
when she'd get like really upset.
Yeah, like she's trying to hide it most of the time. Like she wants to appear, you know, more sophisticated and professional and everything. But once in a while, like when her emotions get to her, or when, you know, she's caught off guard, a little bit of that southern accent just slips out.
That makes the most
That's about
sense.
it.
All right. Let's try this. Chapter 1. Michelle. The sun was out. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, and from the inside of my car, it looked warmer than it was. Georgia was good at that, fooling you into thinking it was in the 60s on a winter day, when you'd be lucky if it hit 40. The chill didn't bother me today, though, because my parents were finally getting married, and that was something to celebrate. The car lurched to the right, and the steering wheel wobbled. The car lurched to the right, and the steering wheel wobbled. I slowly pressed the brake and started searching for a place to pull off the road. Luckily, I was on the 4-lane, and it was only a few hundred feet until the road opened up into a valley, a rare flat spot in the North Georgia mountains. Thanks to the generous nature of the road folks, the paved emergency lane was more than wide enough for my car and dropped off onto a generous, grassy shoulder. I was out of traffic, even if I was 10 miles from any town, and it was a frequently traveled road, so someone would come by. I looked over my shoulder before getting out and walked to the front right corner of the car. The rolling mountains and the sun casting long shadows over the valley. The rolling mountains and the sun casting long shadows over the valleys caught my eye, and I took a moment to appreciate the view.
Yep. Okay, so I don't have much to say, Andrea. What the hell? You actually do sound a lot like the voice that I did for her.
Jeff, I've been listening to you talk in Michelle's voice for almost 23 hours. I would hope I was reasonably close.
Yeah.
I hear Michelle talk in my sleep.
Wow. Okay. You did
And
even better than I thought you would.
Elrond's there too sometimes.
All right. You kind of made him sound like a doof, but no, that's close. It's very close.
I can't do Jeff's Elrond voice at all, but
all right. Man, I wonder if I wish Noelle was here. Annie Connolly is the author. Where's my mouse? Come on, mouse. Hello. Really? Now's a great time to stop functioning, mouse. All right. Well, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab my trackpad instead.
For anyone who was curious, our day has been amazingly plagued by these scenarios. You're lucky you're not looking at the inside of my closet right now. Because this webcam has decided to just go, no, we're not going to function.
Oh, she's here.
Hey,
Awesome.
she is here. Hi.
She is here.
I love your story so much. I'm not even kidding. I loved that book. So the books.
Wait, why was the message retracted? She's like, never mind. I don't want you to see me.
She's trying to hide.
Okay, well, shit, Andrea. I had one little note.
Stop clearing your throat so much in the middle of talking.
No, it was the first sentence of the third paragraph. Even if I was 10 miles from any town.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you how to read that because I wasn't sure on the inflections on that.
Yeah, that's it. Like, you should have put the emphasis on was instead
of...
And because I mean, 10 miles from any town is...
Okay, I'm going to think of that comma as a semicolon and make that basically 2 sentences. So it'll be, I was out of traffic, even if I was 10 miles from any town, and it was a frequently traveled road, so someone would come by. So I'll just treat that like almost after town, I'll treat that almost like a semicolon, so it'll be 2 separate thoughts. That seems to make more sense in my head. Is that kind of what you were saying?
Let's see. I was out of traffic, even if I was 10 miles from any town, and it was a frequently traveled road, so someone would come by.
No. In Michelle's voice.
Okay.
You have to do it in Michelle's voice.
All right, I'm gonna try it. It's been so long. It's been a long time. I was out of traffic, even if I was 10 miles from any town, and it was a frequently traveled road, so someone would come by.
Oh, that was so good. That was so much better than I thought it'd be. I love it.
Okay, so yeah, but that was my only note. Let's hear the rest of it, because we're gonna get to some dialogue here between a couple characters, and let's just hear the rest of the chapter.
FYI, Sin, it was going to be, but the program decided to give us a good FU, and we just decided to make it just a directing session. She asked if this isn't a dual recording session, just a directing one. It's going to be both later on. I think we're both doing dialogue later on, right?
Not in this chapter, but if you want to mess around with a little bit of dialogue later on in the book, just for fun.
Today. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Why not? Oh crap! I lost my place. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Hold,
I'm listening.
Okay. Lately, I've been taking more time to enjoy the crisp winter air, breathtaking views, and fiery sunsets. Life had come at me hard and fast, and I had been faced with more than my fair share of tough choices. The cost of killing the demon, Grammary. I did. Grammary, Andrea, Grammary.
Can we start at life had come at me?
Yeah. Life had come at me hard and fast, and I'd been faced with more than my fair share of tough choices. The cost of killing the demon, Grammary, weighed heavily on me. Sylvia, the elf Grammary had been possessing, had been willing to die if that helped prevent evil from prospering. But that didn't change the facts. I'd killed her. I killed her because that was the only way to kill Grammary. Time was slowly taking the sting. Go ahead.
Let's stop here. Okay.
Yep.
So,
too contemplative, more attitude?
Nope. Okay. So, from life had come at me hard and fast. So, hard and fast, that's more of like you separated them a bit. You're like hard and fast.
Yeah.
It should be more like life had come at me hard and fast.
Okay.
Right? or maybe some emphasis, but not so much separation there. And I had been faced with more than my fair share of tough choices. You went up with tough choices,
Yeah.
or it should go down, right?
Okay.
And I had been faced with more than my fair of tough choices.
Okay.
You know, so like just to add that weight. That pretty much all, all this stuff is just word coloration, tips. Cost of killing the demon. I didn't see any problems there. Oh yeah, from Sylvia.
Yes.
So when you're doing something like this kind of sentence, Sylvia, the elf Gremory had been possessing, had been willing to die. So you wanna have like
The drop
different
down for that.
levels.
Okay.
Yeah, like different levels of shift. Because you're adding subtext
Yeah,
in a way.
I agree on
Sylvia.
that.
Oh yeah, I gotta explain. Sylvia, the elf Gremory had been possessing, had been willing to die. So you're just like picking right back up.
Yeah.
And that's something a lot of narrators, because there's so much there, right? Because there's so much to read and you're trying to get through, that stuff a lot of narrators just skim right past. But it really helps with reading, with listener comprehension, when you're creating different levels, different pitches for the listener to follow while you're going through a sentence with a lot of commas like this. Sylvia, the elf Gremory had been possessing, had been willing to die if that helped prevent evil from prospering. But that didn't change the facts, right? So we just basically have three levels there, right? Like we have Sylvia, that's where it starts. That's like the base level the elf Gremory had been possessing. That's like back up to the base, had been willing to die if that helped prevent evil from prospering. But that didn't change the facts. Okay, so that's like, but that didn't change the facts should be just like one level above the elf Gremory had been possessing, but one level below, prevent evil from prospering. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not, but that didn't change the facts. That's not really subtext. That's just like an art, like a rebuttal.
To me, yeah, that's
Almost.
her arguing herself out of it, basically, just saying, but that doesn't change anything. Because right after that, she gets more contemplative, I guess would be the word. It's self-hating. She beats herself up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then my only other direction for that paragraph, I'd killed her. Okay, so I think that could just be a little bit slower, because you're facing that fact, I'd killed her. And then what you did next was perfect. You pause. You had that nice pause before I killed her, because that was the only way to kill Gremory. So that I really liked, that pause. But just when you're saying something deep, like I fucking killed somebody, like that right? Like, just
Yeah.
have that little, that weight of reflection. But I don't know. I'm still impressed with how you're going so far. So you want to keep going?
Yeah. Do you want me to do that again and take it from lately? I'd been taking more time. Okay. I'm going to do that because that's.
I'm not going to stop you. We'll just remember those notes and
Okay.
go on through.
Lately, I'd been taking more time to enjoy the crisp winter air, breathtaking views, and fiery sunsets. Life had come at me hard and fast, and I had been faced with more than my share. Life had come at me hard and fast.
Every time I want to separate it too much.
Life had come at me hard and fast, and I had been faced with more than my fair share of tough choices. The cost of killing the demon, Gremory, weighed heavily on me. Sylvia, the elf Gremory had been possessing, had been willing to die if that helped prevent evil from prospering. But that didn't change the facts. I'd killed her. I killed her because that was the only way to kill Gremory.
Awesome.
Time was...
Okay,
Thank you.
well, I'm gonna just stop you one more time.
Mhm.
Okay, so I killed her because that was the only way to kill Gremory. So you've already done the weighted response, the I'd killed her part.
Okay, so go faster through the only way to kill
that
Grimmer.
part is like, that's your matter-of-fact statement.
Okay.
Like, yeah, you feel shit about it, but you did what you had to do.
Okay.
Right?
That didn't change the facts. I'd killed her. I killed her because that was the only way to kill Gremory. Time was slowly
Perfect.
Time was slowly taking the sting out of those memories, but I could still hear her screams in my sleep. More often than I'd like, Sylvia's screams would morph into the masculine yell of my mentor, who had died that same night. Vero had only been in my life for a matter of days, but in that time, he had left me with lifetimes of knowledge to study. His passing had left a void that no one had been able to fill. No, I didn't like how I read that. His passing had left a void that no one had been able to fill. A cloud passed over the sun, changing the shadows and giving me a different view of the same hills. The pine trees swaying in the breeze kept the hills green even in the middle of winter. This was the time of year for endings and beginnings, which had been plentiful lately. I wasn't the only one changed by that night.
Can we stop
Sure.
here? Okay, so which had been plentiful lately? So that's like a... imagine this stuff's going through her head, right? That's like an afterthought almost. Like, this was the time of year for endings and beginnings, which had been plentiful lately, right? Like, now that I think about it, they've been plentiful lately. So,
Okay. Sorry, I read it differently. Okay, I'll do that then. Where did I...
I mean, it doesn't have to be that extreme, but
No, I'm just curious. Okay.
The pine trees swaying in the breeze kept the hills green even in the middle of winter. I don't like how I read that. The pine trees swaying in the breeze kept the hills green even in the middle of winter. This was the time of year for endings and beginnings, which had been plentiful lately. I wasn't the only... I don't like how I read that again. This was the time of year for endings and beginnings, which had been plentiful lately. I wasn't the only one changed by that night. Elrond, a good friend who was becoming something... I don't like that. I wasn't the only one changed by that night. Elrond, a good friend who was becoming something more, had watched his former love burn alive. I'd been sure that killing Sylvia would be the end of my relationship with Elrond, but we'd managed to hold on to each other. It was hard to see either of us finding happiness with anyone else. Who could understand what we'd been through except the other person who was there?
okay.
Go ahead.
Let's go back to I wasn't the only one changed by that night.
Okay.
So that sentence was fine, but again, that a little bit of subtext here, right? Elrond, a good friend who was becoming something more, and then who was becoming something more is like, I want to hear the suggestion there.
Okay.
Like a good friend who was becoming something more.
I think I'm going to drag that a little more because that sentence needs to be a lot longer because it goes right to the he watched his former love burn alive. Yeah. So there needs to be some weight to that while also giving the indication.
Right. So, Elrond, a good friend who was becoming something more, had watched his former love burn alive. Right. So like, yeah, there's a lot of emotions in just that one sentence.
I wasn't the only one changed by that night.
Ooh, I read that wrong anyway. I said only one changed that night. I missed that word.
I wasn't the only one changed by that night. Elrond, a good friend who was becoming something more, had watched his former love burn alive. I'd been sure that killing Sylvia would be the end of my relationship with Elrond, but we'd managed to hold on to each other. It was hard to see either of us finding happiness with anyone else. Who could understand what we'd been through, except the other person who was there? When the sun reclaimed its spot in the sky and the wind settled down, I shook off the melancholy reflections and studied the car. It was just my luck to get a flat. It was just my luck to get a flat tire on the way to my parents' wedding. One way or another, I needed to get back on the road because I had to be there. My father had only been in my life for a few months, and my absence would disrupt the happy event.
Okay.
I can hear you shuffling.
Um, and my absence would disrupt the happy event. Like, so that's kind of a, like, you're almost warning yourself, or not warning yourself, but let's see. My father had only been in my life for a few months, and my absence would disrupt the happy event. Right? So you're like, I don't know, like you're kind of chastising yourself here. Like, again, like I said, her character is very much, she's a good person, but she feels guilty for not being a better person, and so she's always like admonishing herself even when things aren't her fault.
Yeah.
So my father had only been in my life for a few months, and my absence would disrupt the happy event. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
The way that you read that part, it was like just kind of matter of fact.
Yeah.
My absence would disrupt the happy event. Right? So can we try just that line, and then
Sure.
we'll move on?
I'm going to start it one way or another.
One way or another, I needed to get back on the road because I had to be there. My father had only been in my life for a few months, and my absence would disrupt the happy event.
Don't like how I read that.
My father
Yeah,
had only...
you're going up on event.
Is that what it is? I just don't like how it sounds. Okay.
It needs to come down. It's that weight, right? One way or another, I needed to get back on the road because I had to be there. My father had only been in my life for a few months, and my absence would disrupt the happy event.
Okay.
My father had only been in my life for a few months, and my absence would disrupt the happy event.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Better.
And my absence would disrupt the happy event. I glared at the tire, which was now resting on the rim. Kneeling down, I found 4 large nails sticking in the rubber.
Ooh, I hit that T hard.
I glared at the tire, which was now resting on the rim. I glared at the tire, which was now resting on the rim. Kneeling down, I found 4 large nails sticking in the rubber. It could have been the deep shadows on this side of the car, but I thought I saw more nails on the inside of the tire. I checked the other tires.
Go ahead.
One thing. Okay. So, first sentence, I glared at the tire, which was now resting on the rim. Right? So you're like,
Okay.
So when
See,
you
I read that both ways, did like the first time.
Yeah, which was now resting on the rim. That's like you being like, it's like a exasperation, right? I
Okay.
glared at the tire resting on the rim, like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just kind of imagine yourself witnessing these things from her perspective, and like, again, you're admonishing yourself, but then at this point, like, you're kind of in this paragraph discovering, wait a second, something's not right here.
Yeah.
Can we just try that paragraph one more time?
Sure.
I glared at the tire, which was now resting on the rim. Kneeling down, I found 4 large nails sticking...
I don't like how I read that still.
I glared at the tire, which was now resting on the rim. Kneeling down, I found 4 large nails sticking in the rubber. It could have been the deep shadows on this side of the car, but I thought I saw more nails on the inside of the tire. I checked the other tires.
Yes, sorry, but that was perfect. Okay.
I checked the other tires, and so far they seemed to be holding out. Muttering nasty words, I popped the trunk and moved my suitcase and duffel bags to the back seat. Then I pulled up the mat and started extracting the jack and wrench. The car whizzed past as I got down on my hands and knees, peering under the car to find the notch where the jack needed to go. With the jack in place and only a few turns from taking the weight of the car, I started breaking loose the lug nuts. Bracing myself against the car, I brought down my foot on the end of the wrench. It hardly budged. I did it twice more before it swung easily. I was working the wrench onto the next lug nut when a car pulled in behind. I was working the wrench onto the next lug nut when a car pulled in behind me. Dusting off my hands, I got to my feet and shaded my eyes with one hand. The man who got out of the driver's seat was in a charcoal suit. A lady in a chic midnight blue pencil skirt and matching jacket. A lady in a chic midnight blue pencil skirt and matching jacket emerged from the passenger side, and through the windshield I could see two people in the back of the car. It would be nice to think It would be nice to think that these people were here to help me, but my recent experiences had left me skeptical. It wasn't that long ago that 3 witches in pencil skirts had tried to abduct me. I'd managed to escape, but that didn't make me feel better about this situation. Besides, go ahead.
One second. Okay, so I think one thing that I'm discovering is that something that's going to help you a lot in reading and narrating books in general is punctuating paragraphs. Okay, with that downward intonation. But
Okay.
that didn't make me feel better about this situation. Okay, you tend to go up sometimes at the ends of paragraphs, and when that happens, I don't hear the end of the paragraph.
Okay.
See what I mean? Like it just
Yeah.
sounds like you're just continuing on. So, but most of what you're doing is just so good. Can we start at, it wasn't that long ago? I just want to hear you punctuate this paragraph before.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just had to find it. Okay.
It wasn't that long ago.
Ooh, I don't like how I hit that.
It wasn't that long ago that 3 witches in pencil skirts had tried to abduct me. I'd managed to escape, but that didn't make me feel better about this situation. Besides, in this part of the world, I was more likely to have Bubba in his jacked-up pickup truck with a coon dog in the back and a gun under the front seat come to my rescue than a group that looked like they'd stepped off a runway. Besides, in this part of the world,
Hold on.
Maybe in this part of the world?
Okay, that might be better.
Besides, in this part of the world, I was more likely to have Bubba in his jacked-up pickup truck with a coon dog in the back and a gun under the front seat come to my rescue than a group that looked like they'd stepped off a runway. I held my ground and kept my mouth shut. When we saw you out here all alone...
Ooh, I hit that so loud, sorry.
When we saw you out here all alone, we had to stop. Do you need help? The lady asked. Thank you for the offer, but I have this under control.
It sounds too combative.
Okay, yeah. So you're not sure about her, but you don't want to seem rude.
Yeah, that was like super rude. She wouldn't have said that.
Thank you for the offer.
Yeah.
But I have this under control.
I'm not interested. A little harsh, Andy. A little harsh.
Thank you for the offer, but I have this under control. This felt very wrong, like I was being set up. Considering how many nails had found their way into that one tire, it was surprising that the others were fine. If a tub of nails had spilled, one tire wouldn't have attracted all of them. But it would be child's play.
I don't like those pauses.
One tire wouldn't have attracted all of them.
If a tub of nails had spilled...
I don't know why I'm singing nails.
If a tub of nails had spilled, one tire wouldn't have attracted all of them. But it would be child's play.
I don't like how long I paused.
If a tub of nails had spilled, one tire wouldn't have attracted all of them. But it would be child's play for a witch to sabotage the tire that way. Nonsense. Josh knows his way around a wrench. He'll have you back on the road in no time. At the woman's words, Josh took off his jacket and draped it over the seat. That's a lovely offer, but I don't need help. My voice was firm, but it didn't have any impact on the lady. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Where did I...
Noelle, we're not even. You're not recording, are you?
No, I'm not recording.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll make sure to get those things right during the recording, but we're just kind of working things out at the moment.
If a tub of nails had spilled, one tire wouldn't have attracted all of them. But it would be child's play for a witch to sabotage the tire that way. Wait, that's not even where it was.
Let's try. Yeah, let's
Oh,
try that
into
one more
the one
time.
tire. Okay, I was looking for the sentence.
Right. So, we want to hear the incredulity
Okay.
of the event, right? Like one tire wouldn't have attracted all of them.
Okay.
Right.
Let's see. I'm gonna... Considering how many nails had found their way into the one tire, it was surprising that the others were fine. If a tub of nails had spilled...
Sorry, I thought that was where the typo or where the mistake was, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it was up there. I know, I thought it was on that second line too, so I had to go up. Considering how many nails had found their way into the one tire, it was surprising that the others were fine. If a tub of nails had spilled, one tire wouldn't have attracted all of them, but it would be child's play for a witch to sabotage the tire that way. Nonsense. Josh knows his way around a ranch. He'll have you back on the road in no time. At the woman's words, Josh took off his jacket and draped it over the seat. That's a lovely offer, but I don't need the help. My voice was firm, but it didn't have any impact on the lady. She waved her hand and Josh started my way. Please, leave. Somehow, I didn't think they were going to listen to me. Her smile faltered, and she ducked into the car for a moment.
Okay, 1 second.
Go ahead.
At somehow, let's hear a little more sarcasm here.
Okay.
Because this is silly. Like, you're telling them no, and you're being pretty firm about it, and you suspected this all along, right? So you're not really surprised, but at the same time, you're like, here we go.
Yeah.
You know.
Sorry, bubble. Okay. She went, oh no. I'm not gonna. Oh no. Okay. Never mind. I'm not gonna sneeze. Apparently
There's
not.
nothing more embarrassing than thinking that you're gonna sneeze in front of people and then not.
Yeah. And this is always what like makes me look the whitest because my arms are so white. I've noticed that on the camera. It's like every time I raise my hand.
No.
Oh God. I'm so pale. Okay. She waved her hand and Joss? His name's Joss now. I've changed it.
Joss Whedon is in this book.
Yes. She waved her hand and Josh... God, I don't like that. She waved her hand and Josh started my way. Danny, you're a douche. Sorry, that made me laugh because I saw that pop up. You know, the second time we ever streamed, I asked Jeff how I had done, and Jeff's like, it was all good, but we need to talk about the camera situation. And I was like, yeah, it does look really bad. And he's like, you kind of look like Casper the Friendly Ghost with pretty eyeshadow. It's like, it's such the girl response, the most girl response ever was like, oh, you think my eyeshadow was pretty? that was what I got out of it. It's like, oh. Okay, focus. Book. Okay.
Book.
Oh, crap. Now I forgot where I was. All right. That's a lovely offer, but I don't... Guy. That's a lovely offer, but I don't need the help. My voice was firm, but it didn't have any impact on the lady. She waved her hand and Josh started my way. Please, leave. Somehow, I didn't think they were going to listen to me. Her smile faltered, and she ducked into the car for a moment. When she returned, there was a wand in her hand and the two ladies from the back seat were getting out. On the side of a highway with my car on 3 wheels wasn't the best spot for us to face off.
Okay.
Considering... Go ahead.
1 second. So that is... again, this is like a sarcasm sentence.
Okay.
Right? Like you're like, oh great, now I'm in this situation. on the side of a highway with my car on 3 wheels wasn't the best spot for us to face off.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let me try this again. Okay. Her smile faltered, and she ducked into the car for a moment. Enunciation. Her smile faltered, and she ducked into the car for a moment. When she returned, there was a wand in her hand, and the two ladies from the back seat were getting out. On the side of a highway with my car on 3 wheels wasn't the best spot for us to face off. Considering how quickly Josh was covering the ground between us, I didn't have much time to come up with a plan. I shot a blast of energy at the woman, turned and sprinted for the tree line. My odds weren't good against 4 witches, and any fight I could walk or run away from was a good fight.
Let's okay.
The
Let's try. Let's work that sentence.
Yeah, that needs some work. Hold on. Sorry, my headphones are slipping off. Continue.
Okay. My odds weren't good against 4 witches, and any fight I could walk or run away from was a good fight.
Okay. So you want me to run, walk, or you want me to put together walk or run, basically?
And any fight I could walk or run away from.
That's what I'm thinking. Okay.
Right. So you get that dip.
Yeah.
And again, it's like there's so much snark. Like she's kind of panicking and like, oh shit, what do I do? But at the same time, that snark is always there.
Okay. I shot a blast of energy at the woman, turned and sprinted for the tree line. My odds weren't good against 4 witches, and any fight I could walk or run away from was a good fight. The first baby pine was at my side when someone knocked into me from behind. I hit the ground hard, air whooshing out of my lungs. While I lay there stunned, my hands were wrestled behind my back and cold metal was clipped around them. Very good, Josh. Now, the charm was the last thing I heard. Why did I say heard like that? That was terrible.
Yeah.
Was the last thing I heard.
Okay. So so this is the very last line of the chapter. And like I was saying, you want to punctuate paragraphs and chapters and everything, so like this is like, if you're watching a movie, this is the part where the gumshoe gets pushed over or gets knocked out from behind,
Yeah.
and everything fades to black. Next chapter, right? So we want her, whoever this, I can't remember who this character is that she's talking to, but we want her to sound a bit menacing here. And then
this one wasn't ever specified. I made sure this one does not say it was Tammy, I don't think. Because she's met Tammy at this point.
Okay. So this is a bit menacing. Very good, Josh. Now the charm. Right?
Okay.
Was the last thing I heard. So
okay.
Like drift off with her.
Okay.
So
it's.
But I like how it sounds like you've developed more of an appropriate tempo for action-y type stuff out of you more than I usually do. So that's good. Can we start from the first baby pine?
Yeah. Okay, it was a good fight. The first baby pine was at... Guy, struggling with that today. Sorry, I had to use an asthma inhaler and it dries my throat out really bad. The first baby pine was at my side. That's not the right tone. The first baby pine was at my side when someone knocked into me from behind. I hit the ground hard, air whooshing out of my lungs. While I lay there stunned, my hands were wrestled behind my back and cold metal was clipped around them. Very good, Josh. Now, the charm was the last thing I heard.
Yeah. I think try that was the last thing I heard one more time, but dip down.
Okay. Was the last thing I heard.
Yeah, there we go. You're doing good, Andrea.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
After listening to you through the whole chapter, I think that you're trying just a little too hard just to be up in pitch. I think I want.
Yeah, she sounds a little high pitched to
Well,
me. I think that's what I'm struggling with.
Yeah, I even if you are kind of matching the pitch that I was doing, I don't want you to strain,
Yeah.
right? So I think you can just relax a little bit more with the pitch and maybe find a better, a more comfortable baseline for you.
On the side of the
Because
highway with my car on 3 wheels wasn't the best spot for us to face off.
Is that better?
that already sounds more comfortable for you. Your
It
voice
is. It's
doesn't
much better.
sound.
Because I'm not talking like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am impressed that you were actually able to get closer to my tone, but it's more important that you're feeling good and that you're more comfortable in her skin than I don't want you to have to focus so much on the pitch. You know, if you have to concentrate on that, then you're not concentrating as much on being in her mindset.
Yeah, that's part of the hardest part when you're first, like I struggle with this every time I start out a new book, is basically I sit there battling between my opinion on what the character sounds like and focusing on the acting of the chapter. And I end up going back lots at the very beginning because I struggle going, okay,
Mhm.
that's really nice that I held character, but I just read that like a bedtime story. Now we got to start over again and read it like somebody just
Mhm.
died, you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. All right, but I'm super excited right now. This is so
yay!
good.
I didn't mess it up too bad.
Hardly at
Good
all.
job, Michelle.
All right, so let's find some fun dialogue.
Let's see. I have them. I was a good girl, so I have them all bookmarked. Let's see. Elrond and Landa, Josh and Michelle. Let's go later in the book because it's kind of
Now, before,
Elrond and Michelle are where the good stuff is.
yeah, uh, sometimes they have funny arguments.
they do. They really amuse me. I love Elrond and Michelle so much. Every time I listen, like I seriously, the first time when I actually went outside and told Hayes the story, I never do this, but I ran outside and told Hayes the first time that Andrew was on the steps and the guy who put the spell, I don't know if you remember because it's been a long time, but the guy who put the spell on Michelle to track her, the guy who had been the paramedic at the mermaid's tank thing,
Yeah.
and he put a spell on her to track her for his clan. And she was super pissed about it and like dumped him. They had gone on a date, but it was over with.
Mhm.
She's coming back with Elrond to the house. This is what they're doing, apparently.
Yeah,
I don't know why I needed to illustrate. They're coming back to the house and he's sitting on the porch. And Michelle's like basically saying, leave. I don't want you here. And he's like, no, you don't understand. Give me a chance to explain. And she's like, leave. I don't want you here. And Elrond is standing next to her. And Elrond's like, you heard the lady. Leave. And Andrew picks up and he's like, no, you don't understand. And he reaches to grab her.
Uh-huh.
And Elrond straight up pops out of nowhere, who has been a totally docile elf at this point. Like up to this point, he's just been kind of the old guy. Like he's just been the old elf living in the house who pisses Michelle the hell off.
Yeah.
That's the point where Elrond jumps in front of Michelle, produces a sword out of nowhere, which I affectionately refer to as his elven lightsaber from that point forward. He produces a sword out of nowhere and like is the lady said leave. I ran out and told Hayes, I was like, this book has elven lightsabers and super badass elves. It's not an elven lightsaber.
Yeah.
I know that, but that's what it was in my head because it came from nowhere.
Yeah, he finally reveals his ball sack.
Yeah, exactly. And it's after that point that you start like his bulging muscles and his rippling abs. And I'm just like, yes, you go with your silver hair, Elrond. I just love you. I had sent Hayes a message, or Hayes. Your name is Jeff Hayes. My husband's name is Hayes. That complicates things. But I had sent Jeff a message earlier on when I was listening to the books. And I was like, I have the biggest crush on Liam the werewolf because holy crap, Irish accents. And he's totally like the noble knight in shining armor. And after like the second book, I was like, I need to tell Jeff that now it's moved to Elrond because I got a giant crush on Elrond now.
Elrond's he becomes a badass. He reveals himself as a badass. So
Yes, he's totally, and he doesn't come across that way at first, and then suddenly in the later books, he's like, "I'm super badass elf," and he saves the day all the time.
I kind of want you to do his voice now from just that last. We're
gonna do Elrond like this now.
It's just to the university. I do tour to a small grove I discovered a few weeks ago.
I really like plants. Do you like plants? That's terrible. That's so horrible. So, and I'm gonna totally read that. I'm just gonna go through and read Elrond now. Just everything I read with him is gonna be, I will always rescue you. Almost home. We'll be passing Woodstock shortly. For no reason.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. Sorry. All right. So yeah, did you think of a good dialogue spot you wanted to work on?
Let me see.
Now I don't remember all the characters' names or characters' voices. I remember Elrond's. I'm looking at chapter 9 right now. Elrond, Rodriguez. I can do Mander. I forget what he sounds like. And I remember Greg.
Greg is basically your chest voice. Mander is yeah, Mander is, he talks so little.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I think I remember him. He doesn't have an accent or anything, but he's like really gruff.
Gruff? Maybe around here somewhere?
Kind of. I think it's a little deeper than that, but that's really close if I remember correctly.
We'll use this guy. We'll use this guy as Mander for now.
Yeah, just super serial.
Super serial.
Super serial, you guys. I'm super serial. Okay, wait. Okay, I think we need to do one that has Liam in it, just because I want to hear you do an Irish accent because I want to torture you. And then we need to do, let's see. Why don't we do, there's a lot of emotion in like this first Elrond Michelle exchange where he's basically rescued her.
Okay.
So, yeah, right here. In, what is this? Chapter 8.
Chapter 8.
Yeah, I have it marked as D4. And that's take a deep breath, you're safe. Where are we? And she's supposed to be basically waking up and injured. So it might be a good thing to go over so that I can find out how you want me to do those, because everybody likes those done differently. So
you want to know how you do what again? Sorry.
How you want me to, Michelle's coming out of out of getting essentially knocked out. Like basically she's been knocked out at this point, and Elrond carried her to the car. And everyone likes that acted to a different degree. So
okay. Yeah. So so grogginess, like I like hearing grogginess if that's appropriate, you know. But all that I'm worried about is don't take it so deep that we can't understand what you're saying.
Okay.
That's it. So, okay. So at this point, you're still groggy. Michelle mumbled. All right. I'm going to start at an hour later.
Okay. Go away. Hold on. My little bookmark is blocking. There we go. Okay.
Good to go?
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry, I just had to fix it.
An hour later, we were on the west side of Atlanta, merging onto 575 when Michelle mumbled and her eyes fluttered. She tensed and jerked upright, looking in every direction, flinging the neck pillow at the windshield and swearing when she bumped her injured foot into the door. Take a deep breath. You are safe.
Where are we?
Almost home. We will be passing Woodstock shortly. I handed her a bottle of juice and some snacks. As soon as my hand was empty, she grabbed it in both of hers and pressed it against her cool cheek.
I'm so happy to see you. I was sure I wasn't getting out of that.
Her voice wobbled, and a tear dripped onto my hand.
Thank you for being my hero.
I will always rescue you. Okay, so let's start. Let's start again.
Yeah.
It looks like she's not that groggy at this point, because she jerks awake, right? She tense and jerked upright.
Oh yeah, she tenses and jerked upright. Okay, yeah. So she's not groggy.
So
All
it's
right,
more
that
like
makes sense.
it's more like, where are we? Right.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna just start at the same place. And so
Okay.
we just need a little more energy, and like it looks like right after I hand you the bottle of juice, you calm down a bit, and then you're like, oh shit, it's you.
You saved my life. Oh, swoon, swoon. I'm
Yeah.
getting the vapors.
Yeah, okay. An hour later, we were on the west side of Atlanta, merging onto 575, when Michelle mumbled and her eyes fluttered. She tensed and jerked upright, looking in every direction, flinging the neck pillow at the windshield and swearing when she bumped her injured foot into the door. Take a deep breath. You are safe.
Where are we?
Almost home. We will be passing Woodstock shortly.
I don't like
I
that.
handed her a bottle of...
Can we do that line?
Where are we?
Yeah, can we start just from the take a deep breath? I didn't like that because it's not.
Okay, gotcha. Take a deep breath. You are safe.
Where are we?
Almost home. We will be passing Woodstock shortly. I handed her a bottle of juice and some snacks. As soon as my hand was empty, she grabbed it in both of hers and pressed it against her cool cheek.
I am so happy to see you. I was sure that I wasn't I'm so happy to see you. I was sure I wasn't getting out of that.
Her voice wobbled, and a tear dripped onto my hand.
Thank you for being my hero.
Okay, so
I don't like how I read that at all. My stomach's
yeah,
hurting.
I think you're hamming it up too much.
Yeah, no,
So,
I don't like all the
like-
way from "I'm happy to see you." I wasn't sure I was getting out of that.
Yeah, it's
It just sounds silly when I'm reading it. All right.
okay. So Michelle, like even when Michelle's getting swoony, like she's still got that upright, like she still always wants to seem like she's under control.
Yeah.
She's always on the defense. So like while you're showing your emotion here, it's like a struggle for you to get it's a struggle for you to let your guard down, and but you know that you have to do it in a way, because it's like, this dude is always there for me. I need to be clear about my emotions, and I need to be thankful here. So so yeah, you want to stay strong, but at the same time it's like you know that you are supposed to be vulnerable at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm torn. I'm trying to figure out because she's grabbing his hand and pressing it to her cheek. So she's basically like,
Yeah, like she's fine. Yeah, like she's like she was giving in to that vulnerability here.
okay, we're going to try. Let's try it again from take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath. You are safe.
Where are we?
Almost home. We will be passing Woodstock shortly. I handed her a bottle of juice and some snacks. As soon as my hand was empty, she grabbed it in both of hers and pressed it against her cool cheek.
I am so happy to see you. I wasn't sure I was getting out of that. I don't like it again.
My stomach's making funny noises. Sorry.
I am so happy.
This is tough for me because it's a unique character coming in on a really emotional scene. This is harder than I thought it was. I thought usually this is the kind of thing that you do in the middle of the book, so it's a little bit out of context. I'm having trouble with it. Okay.
Yeah.
Where are we? I am so happy to see you. I'm trying to balance her emotions, and it's really difficult. Okay, let's just move on because people are going to get super bored with that. So,
Okay, so start. I mean, you're still a little bit scrambled, but you're like you're relieved, right?
yeah.
So I don't know, maybe a little more speed, right? I'm
Okay.
so happy to see you. I was sure that I wasn't getting out of that.
Okay.
Right. All right, I'm gonna start from I handed her a bottle.
Okay.
I handed her a bottle of juice and some snacks. As soon as my hand was empty, she grabbed it in both of hers and pressed it against her cool cheek.
I am so happy to see you. I was sure I wasn't getting out of that.
Her voice wobbled, and a tear dripped onto my hand.
Thank you for being my hero.
I will always rescue you. She smiled slightly and released my hand. I patted her leg before returning my hand to the steering wheel. The sound of her voice, rough but steady, steadied me. I'd gotten her away from the bad witches, and she was going to be fine.
How long was I gone? Where did you find me?
Michelle asked as she dug into the food. Roughly a day. I am unsure of the town name, but you were east of Atlanta.
And you're taking me home?
Yes, I said gently, trying to balance the tension in her voice.
We need to go back. Talk to the local police. It's their jurisdiction. They need to know what happened so they can arrest Gretchen.
Okay, so here, it's like, okay, you had your moment of weakness, and now it's like back on task.
Okay.
Right? We need to go back.
We need to go back. Talk to the local police. It's their jurisdiction. They need to know what happened so they can arrest Gretchen.
No, I'm taking you home.
What?
I do not know those policemen. My first priority is not justice, but your safety. You were abducted in your hometown. We know and trust Rodriguez. You can talk to him. If we must return to that area for legal reasons, we will do so when you're arrested and able to defend yourself.
But...
I called the lodge and Rodriguez while you were asleep. He will be at the lodge when we arrive, and your parents have been informed that you are safe. Trail mix into her hands. When I spoke to Rodriguez, he said he was coordinating with several departments.
We did cross a lot of jurisdictions.
My stomach hates me today.
Okay, so all right, so
I think that's supposed to be more
particular...
contemplative.
We
Yeah,
did
yeah,
cross
okay.
a lot of jurisdictions.
It's like you're ready to fight, right? Because I'm trying to tell you, no, I need to take care of you, and you can't be doing your job right now. And you're like, fuck you, I'm Michelle Oakes. We
Yeah.
do what I want. But then you're like, wait, that makes sense.
Yeah, this is...
We did cross a lot of jurisdictions.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
seemed content with the food. I kept glancing at her, relieved that her skin was approaching its typical olive color rather than the powdery white she'd been when I'd found her in the forest. Change your skin color.
Damn it, but
You don't think that's been a thing that I've been trying to do my whole life? You can see the veins when I don't wear foundation, Jeff. You do not understand. My sister looks like she's wearing blue eyeshadow no matter the day. I don't know why I said that way. It just did.
Okay. I kept glancing at her, relieved that her skin was approaching its typical olive color rather than the powdery white she'd been when I'd found her in the forest.
Elrond?
Oh, no, wait.
Yeah, so
hold on. This
okay.
is more tentative. I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Elrond?
Yeah, okay.
Elrond?
Did you say it? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Okay,
Yeah,
hold on.
Oh.
I need to use the bathroom.
Women had not changed in 1,500 years. Women. Okay.
That's my
that was a little-
favorite chapter ending in the entire book, by the way. That made me laugh so hard when I read it. Like, I literally was laughing out loud in my room. Like,
Yeah, because that setup, the Elrond, that's like I think everyone's expecting her to say something
really deep
profound.
and meaningful.
You know?
I need to
Okay.
go to the bathroom.
You want to try something with some more characters, real
Sure.
quick?
Yeah, we got like 10 minutes before people decide to
Yeah.
rebel. Let's go.
Yeah.
Ooh, no. Why is that split? Oh, it's Dad and Rodriguez and Michelle and Mom. Dad, Michelle, Dad. Nah, that's kind of spoilery. Oh yeah, Liam.
Does he have his own chapter?
Okay.
Oh.
No, but he has the Liam walked past the sideboard over to me. This is where the I think this is where the nip. Yeah, Purcell's in here. Like, oh, I love you, Liam. Like, she's like all up his ass in this chapter. This is page 77. It's Liam, Michelle, Liam, Michelle, Liam, Elrond, Landa, Nancy, Michelle. It's got quite a few people in it.
Okay. Page, what was that? 77?
77.
All right. So I'm seeing.
Michelle. Okay.
Actually, it looks like 76 is where the beginning of the actual screenplay stuff is.
It might be different page numbers. I'm sorry. I have it marked as 77. Or it's marked as 77.
Tell me what the first line you want to start on.
Liam passed the sideboard over to me. I'd probably do. Liam was the new alpha of the local pack of werewolves, and Purcell was a wood nymph.
Maybe
Because this is a Michelle. No, it's chapter 10.
Chapter 10. I don't see Liam anywhere here. Oh, Michelle, Dad, Rodriguez, Mom, Michelle, Dad.
It's like the second page of the chapter.
All right, let's just go to chapter 10 instead. Liam walked past the sideboard.
Yeah, I'll start the chapter before that because it actually sets up. It does the summarization.
Okay.
Summary, whatever. Okay.
Liam was the new alpha of the local pack of werewolves, and Purcell was a wood nymph who'd lived at the lodge before deciding to be one with.
I think her name's Priscilla.
Is it Priscilla? Oh, that's right. It is Priscilla. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I haven't heard her for a really long. Or I haven't. She's in like chapter or book 1 or something like that.
Yeah, Priscilla. Yep.
Priscilla. Okay.
I remember that. I remember that name being like, what? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Priscilla?
Liam was the new alpha of the local.
It's Mom and Dad sat across from you. Okay, this is just an explanation. Okay.
Liam was the new alpha of the local pack of werewolves, and Priscilla was a wood nymph who'd lived at the lodge before deciding to be one with nature. Landa had predicted that she'd be back after the first frost, and from the look of things, that's about what had happened. Her presence also explained Liam's look. Priscilla wasn't shy about her desires, and anything male, handsome, and alive usually qualified as something she desired. Liam walked past the sideboard and over to me, squatting down next to my chair. He gave me an assessing. Liam walked past the sideboard and over to me. Qualified as something she desired. Liam walked past the sideboard and over to me, squatting down next to my chair. He gave me an assessing look.
Lass, you had me worried. It's good to have you back.
Thanks. It's good to be back. He stood up and gave me a one-armed hug before going to get food. Priscilla dawdled at the drink table long enough that Liam went ahead and sat down. As soon as he was in a seat, she claimed the spot next to him. I figured I could save him some grief. Oh, sorry. That's not dialogue. I figured I could save him some grief if I could keep the conversation going in this direction so he didn't have to look at her. Liam, how much longer will you... Liam, how much longer will you be staying here?
This is my last night. The wolves are settled down, and the pack's house is ready for me.
They'd had a rough go lately, and Liam hadn't wanted to stay in the home with them until they understood he wasn't crazy like their last alpha. I wished the pack could know Liam the way I did, because that would solve their doubts. Liam was an all-around good guy. He'd volunteered to help me out on more than one occasion, and he'd killed the last alpha when we rescued my friend Amber from him. Adder had abducted her after killing his father to take over the pack. It turned out that Adder had been feeding power to Gremory, and when Liam had killed Adder, he'd also weakened the demon. I'll miss having you around, but it'll be good for them to see how you behave on a day-to-day basis. Liam nodded.
They aren't used to a stable leadership. They aren't used to a stable leadership that enforces the rules. It won't be half bad to live there. But after what Adder did, many of them cringe if I stub my toe or get a paper cut.
Do you think some of them would do better in a different pack?
Oh, sorry, that's Elrond. Sorry.
Do you think some of them would do better in a different pack?
Elrond asked.
I do, but I won't force them. I've mentioned it and left some handouts, but I doubt I'll get many takers. They may not trust me, but I'm a known entity, and I haven't proven to be violent. They can't be sure what they'll be getting. They can't be sure what they'll be getting into if they switch packs.
There was plenty of frustration in his voice, but there was also sorrow.
Are there any pack members who would do well?
Ooh, how did I do her?
Are there any pack members who would do well with some distance from the rest of the pack? We could use one or two. We could house...
Let's try that again. Sorry, first time doing Landa.
Are there any pack members who would do better?
Why can't I read right now?
Are there any pack members who would do well with some distance from the rest of the pack? We could house one or two at a time and give them a change of scenery,
Landa said.
We're going to work on that.
Yeah. That's a thought. Can I get back to you?
Landa smiled and nodded. As I ate, the conversation shifted. Dad started discussing the regulatory body structure of different shifter species with Liam, and Mander asked Priscilla about her time in the woods. Mom, what did you guys end up doing about the wedding? She looked at Dad, who shrugged before turning to me. We canceled it because we didn't want to get married without you. But what about the guests, or the officiator or reception? That isn't going to be easy to reschedule.
Michelle, we were planning on having a small ceremony with my clan. They understood the situation, and, schedules allowing, we'll be at the wedding when it does happen. As for the reception, we were doing a potluck, so it hardly matters.
All right. When they talked about the wedding, they'd mentioned it being at Dad's house, but I hadn't realized that most of the guests would be friends from his clan. It made sense, but I'd had a demon to deal with, so my attention hadn't been focused on the ceremony's details. Now that you're safe, we'll reschedule. Mom reached across the table and patted my hand.
Sorry, that was me.
Mom reached across the table and patted my hand. We concentrated on our food, having abandoned it during the discussion. From the other end of the table, I heard Priscilla say,
Okay, I cannot for the life of me, I can't remember what Priscilla sounded like in the first book.
I can't remember either, but
I'm gonna have to look it up.
I'm kind of assuming I used my Mindy Kaling voice for, so I don't know.
Okay.
Surely you'd welcome company on this cold winter night.
Rolling my eyes, I glanced at Elrond. We'd heard something similar on one of his first nights here. Elrond winked before saying,
Liam, I have an electric blanket you may borrow.
The corner of Liam's mouth twitched.
I may take you up on that.
Priscilla leaned against Liam's shoulder.
Surely you want a natural warmth.
My room has a fireplace.
Liam commented as he tore into a slice of pepperoni pizza. Priscilla scooted closer to him, and he promptly angled his chair so his back was to her. That didn't slow her down. She simply leaned over his shoulder and whispered in his ear. I don't know what she said, but Liam's head whipped about and gave him an... I don't know what she said, but Liam's head whipped around and gave an honest-to-God growl.
Get off me! Sorry, that was British. Get off of me! Get off of me!
Priscilla slowly
Get off
slid...
of me! There we go. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Priscilla slowly slid back into her own seat. Liam wasn't done. His voice was rough with anger.
I told you to leave me alone once before. Next time you do this, I'm taking a bite out of you. I may start with your hand.
Her mouth formed an O when she scooted her chair away from him.
I told you that you are welcome to return as long as you didn't harass the other guests. If you do this one more time, you'll be evicted and won't be allowed on the property again.
Priscilla nodded and squeaked. Sorry. Liam didn't acknowledge her, but Landa gave her a curt nod.
That's basically the end of that dialogue,
Yeah.
Mark, for the record, because it's a long paragraph after that.
Okay. So, yeah. All right. So
I'm going to work on Landa because hers is terrible right now.
Landa and I'm not as worried about your character voices really. It's just once we do dialogue next week, I think what we're going to do maybe for the first 20 minutes is just jam practice, get loosened
idea.
up.
That's the best idea.
Because looseness, relaxation, I think is going to be the key to getting all this dialogue stuff done right. Because you got to shift between different characters and we want it to be believable, right? So
yeah, that's the truth.
So, but other than that, I'm really liking what you're doing with the narration. The last thing I will say about it is I've noticed that you pause a little bit too much during places with no punctuation.
Yeah.
And so
it's the biggest pain in the butt to my editor ever. She's like, do you have to pause all the time?
I can hear why, and why you're doing it makes sense. But what I think you should work on is instead of pausing, slowing.
Okay.
In those areas, keep it moving, but just kind of stretch words a little more, or I don't know. I guess that's the best way I can describe it. Is just stretch the time a little bit, but no pausing without commas. One thing that was a habit that I had to break for myself, because we have those instincts, like in the middle of sentences, we want to pause and stuff. And sometimes we even think it may be a good idea, but almost every single time you listen back, you're like, you know what? No, the pause does not need to be there. What
sounds weird.
Smoothness is what we want out of narration, right? We want the flow and the rhythm to feel natural, and so not pausing is a big part of that. But yeah, Andrea, you're doing a great job. I feel a lot more confident in you now after this. I mean, I was already not really worried, but now I'm like, yeah, she's got this.
Well, that's good to know.
So yeah, do you have any other questions?
No, I'm actually pretty good. I'm going to do all of my audio files set up, like all of the example voices and my character samples, so that they're consistent during our recording, because that's going to be a problem that I kind of foresee with doing the dialogue and the narration separately. Is I'm like, I'm really worried that I'm gonna end up dropping character on accident. So I normally have everybody recorded, but I do it as I go. This one I think I'm gonna go in advance and just give myself character files basically with the voices. But everything's good.
All right. Well, you can always contact me if you need something. Even if it's just as simple as, God damn it, I don't know how to read this line.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm here for you when it comes to that. So
I've done that before to you, so
yeah.
I won't stop now.
All right. So yeah, good session. Thanks so much for setting this up and streaming it yourself. I would have done it myself, but I'm still banned from YouTube. Hopefully that's going to be done soon. I got banned in August. What is this month? October, August, September, October. Shit, man, I got at least another month.
I don't understand.
It's a 3-month ban, dude.
And literally the appeal is you know what you did.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's just it. Like it's just well, you know you've been naughty, so don't do it again. And it's like, yeah, dicks. It'd be nice to know what.
Yeah, I would love to comply if there was like rules somewhere that
And
I could read.
the thing that kills me is, have you ever actually tried to like strike a video on YouTube for actual like copyright violation or anything? Because audiobooks end up on YouTube all the time as like whole audiobooks. So I've tried to go on there and be like, hey, screw you, you can't do this. And I've tried to flag a video. It's like a 5-step verification process. So how your video made it through all of that?
And it got struck not even 30 minutes after I scheduled the stream, right? Like the stream hadn't even started yet. It was threatening to start in an hour and it got struck. I mean, I have no words. I don't know.
It's ridiculous. Philip DeFranco actually talked about this a lot, has talked about this a lot in the past, where it's like the stuff that YouTube's doing right now doesn't affect large creators. It doesn't affect the people like Philip DeFranco. It affects the people like you who are smaller creators.
Yeah.
Because you have no voice. You don't have anybody to talk to that you can go, hey, I'm going to pull my content if you don't answer a question, because they don't care, you know? So
don't give a shit. And I mean, I guess economically, what can we do about it? But
yeah,
that is the reality that I'm faced with. Hopefully I'll be back on YouTube in a month as far as streaming, but if not, I mean, Twitch has never given me any problems, so there's always that. But anyway, let's get off here and get back to work. Thanks again, Andrea, and yeah, I guess if you could post the replay on the Soundbooth Theater Live Facebook group, that'd be cool.
sure. I'll figure that out.
And is this the channel that you want to be working through from now on, like doing videos for yourself?
Let's hold off on that, because I can't even figure out which channel this went through ultimately. There were so many buttons that got pushed. Let me make sure this is on the right channel. Okay. Is this on Andrea Parsno, or is this on? Oh yeah, this is the one. This is the channel.
Okay. So make sure to tell people to subscribe. Anyone who's watching this, please subscribe to Andrea's YouTube channel, and she'll be posting the replay soon.
Thank you guys. You were awesome.